A classic
Down syndrome.
Billy Joel tune.
The Down syndrome Alexa.
What possessed him to write that song? I'm gonna write a motherfucking. This is gonna be about boat dudes. That's what I'm gonna imagine. I'm a boat dude. For
Isn't
this
he
song.
from Long Island?
Yeah.
You know, he's from the Bronx, actually.
Oh, is he?
He lives in Long Island. Yeah,
He's from the Bronx, really?
Yeah.
You could be a little Jew in the
he
Bronx.
Hasn't written
He's
a new
Puerto
song in,
Rican.
like 20 years. How long?
Billy Joel's Puerto Rican.
How long has he written? When's the? He's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Wilhelmo Joel.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
He probably wrote the soundtrack for some Disney movie that no one saw.
Yeah, that's
One of those Disney movies where it's like House Fans by Disney. They just
that
like
Avenue Q money. That's smart. Broadway money.
Yeah.
I knew the kid who's. I think his dad like contributed to that, and he ended up like murdering someone.
What the fuck?
He ended up murdering someone in Soho House, and it was like the front page of the Post for like a year.
To Avenue
And I was
Q?
like, I used to play ball with that guy. He was always nice to me. I guess he's not that nice. He strangles someone to death in a bathtub.
That's crazy. Did you think that was always inside of him, or maybe he like flipped? I always wonder that. Like, what if I murder somebody someday, and then I'm like, I shit, I guess I was always that guy.
I guess you just don't know.
I feel like it could happen to anybody. Like something happens, and then you get pissed off and you murder somebody.
Yeah. Something happens. You methodically kill small woodland creatures, work your way up to human until you're, comfortable. You start like a bunny rabbit, and then like a whole deer. And
That's not everybody, because a lot of these forensic files, a lot of people. How many people just kill for money?
Yeah,
it's like that, and it's like. By the way, no one ever died. If you fall down a flight of stairs, it was a murder.
That's the most common motive.
Falls down a flight of
That's
stairs.
the most common motive is like fucking, financial shit.
And it's like I can't believe they think they're going to get away with it. There's always like, oh, we took out a life insurance policy 2 weeks ago, and then Grandma just fell.
He went to the gun store and the insurance, and then got an insurance policy, and then our grandma had 18 shots in the back of her head.
You say who falls down the stairs, and that literally happened to my grandmother's friend.
Really?
Her lifelong friend. She went to nursing school with her in the 40s. They've known each other since.
What was
like
nursing school back then? It was just like
I don't know how to like keep band-aids away from black people. Just make sure they don't get their hands on them. It'll dirty them up. Back then they reused band-aids.
Yeah,
too.
those were black people band-aids.
Yeah.
After white people got to go.
Yeah.
You sent them to the.
But yeah, no, she had known her for like her whole life. It was her best friend, and her best friend was over like visiting at their house, and she had to go upstairs to like go to the bathroom or something, and so she's going up the stairs and like just misses her grasp, and she's like whoop, and then in front of my grandma falls backwards and just splits her fucking head open.
In front of her?
Yeah, blood pouring out of her head.
Holy shit.
I was about to make a joke until you said blood pouring out of the head. Now
My
it's
grandma
real.
luckily doesn't listen to Cum Town. So in front of her friend dying. Oh yeah, it was a fucking nightmare.
That's awful.
Yeah, like she was in the hospital, and then the family was like kind of blaming my grandma and grandpa.
She left out the banana peel, you know?
Yeah. They're like, you just couldn't give up those damn bananas, could you? You're 87 years old. You don't need to eat those bananas all day long.
Have you guys ever seen someone actually slip on a banana peel? It's one of the funniest things on earth.
I don't think
I've witnessed it. It was the best thing.
I saw a guy. I was doing that Bethesda Hyatt show, that Kurt Shackelford show. And me and Joe Robinson are out in the lobby talking, and there's like this guy who's like, he's like a big dude. He's a middle-aged dude. He's probably like 6'3", like 300 some pounds, and I just hear this like awful like. That kind of noise.
No.
And me and Joe look over, and they have these like marble stairs with like an edge like this, like a fucking 90-degree edge on each step. And I look over, and this guy's just face down. It looks like he's laying on the stairs. and it like takes a second. We're like, what the fuck? And then we realize he just tripped and went directly. And so I run over to him, and like, I'm like, sir, are you okay? And he's just out cold.
Holy shit.
He's not responsive. And I hold his head and like, go to roll him over. I'm making sure his neck doesn't shift at all. Like I know what the fuck I'm doing, but
it is kind of that is like the classic comedy that the guy's too fat to pull over.
Well, I start lifting him, and it's almost like someone like peeling duct tape off something. You just hear the skin in his head is peeling off the step. And there's a deep groove, and blood just starts pouring out. I'm like, okay, whoa, I just like place him back, place him back. And as I'm like placing him back, he like comes to, and he's like, because he's making the sound a guy makes when he's knocked the fuck out, which is that like, you know, their breathing's all fucked up. And then he comes to, and he's like, you know, he doesn't know where he is and shit. And I'm like, do you know what day it is? You know, and blah, blah, blah. And he like asked his name, and then paramedics came and shit. But it was fucking
Jesus Christ.
it was frightening to see that.
I saw a crazy one once. This is insane. I was like walking just in New York City. I was in 6th grade. I'm walking down the street to get on the bus, and an old lady jumps out of a building and lands probably 5 feet in front of me.
Holy
and
shit.
splat dead. And it was like, that made me think of it because she just like, your mind plays tricks on you.
That's a way better story.
No, but just the idea that like they're just flat. She was flat down.
I saw a guy that needed 4 stitches, and then like had ice cream later that night.
Well, it's like you think you're in like on like a movie set. Your brain's like protecting you from the trauma. Right. So I was just like, oh, I'm in like Punked.
Yeah,
that was a popular show when I was in 6th grade.
Yeah. Still a popular show.
It's great.
So she just fucking did she like explode? Or was
No,
she just...
it was that's what was so fucked up. It's just she just like it was like splat, and you just and you heard like the and she was not instantly dead. I remember she was like oh, and I was like shit. So someone got her a blanket, and I was like, I don't think that's gonna do it. I don't think the blanket's gonna do it. But
and then what happens is a bunch of clowns came in one of those tiny ambulances, and they get the stretcher out, and they put the stretcher upside down. They get tied up in the stretcher.
Well, I remember being. This is the worst part of it. I remember being like, I was young. I was a little traumatized.
Yeah, of course.
And I remember calling a friend of mine, and his mom was kind of crazy, and I was like, I'll talk to him. It'll make me feel better. And I called him, and she picked up, and he wasn't home, and she just talked for like 20 minutes straight. She was like one of those self-involved, like awful people, where she was just like, and then Martin did this, and then we did this, and then I was like, she's like, how was your day? It was like 20 minutes in the conversation. I was like, I just saw someone die. And she's like, all right, well, Elliot will be back shortly.
Oh my god, dude!
It was like no sympathy.
That's insane. I remember one time I used to hang out at my friend's house after school when I was in like junior high or whatever, and my mom worked at like a daycare center, so she'd be at work till like 7 p.m. I just wouldn't see her, wouldn't hear from her, and it was just like abnormal to hear from my mom like in the afternoon. And I was over at my friend's house one time, and my mom calls, like my friend's mom is like, yeah, your mom's on the phone, and I like pick up the phone. I'm like, hey, what's up? And she's like, I need you to meet me at home right now. And I'm like, why? What's up? I'm not worried that I'm in trouble. Like my first thought is like, she found the pornography on the computer. I'm going to jail. She found the pornography.
It was a good run.
Yeah, I got
it's like that scene in Blow.
She's like, I just need you to come home now. And I was like, why can't you tell me what's about? She's like, just come home. And so I hang up the phone, and I'm like consulting with my friends. I'm like,
oh my god,
fuck, dude. She found there's got to be porn on there. Like she found porn on my computer. I'm like, fucked. It's like she knows I'm masturbating, which is illegal. I'm never gonna be allowed to jack off again. And I'm like so worried about it. I'm like sick with work because like why the fuck is my mom home from work? Like now I'm like fuck. And then I get there and she's in tears, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so bad. And she's like, Erica was driving home, and she was T-boned by a truck, and she's dead. And Erica was this like 19-year-old woman that like worked at the daycare center she worked at, who was always like super cool to me. Shit. And like I was legitimately sad about it afterwards, but at the time I was like, thank God. I was like so much relief. I was like, boys, guess who's still jacking off?
Oh, by the way, Erica got teabagged by a car.
T-bone.
She's dead.
Yeah.